All right, let's jump right in. We're heading to a part of the world that is just incredibly complex, Northeast India. And we're going to unpack one of its most debated, most mysterious unsolved cases. It's a story about a killing that, even now, decades later, seems to give us more questions than answers.
And right at the heart of it all is this one question. I mean, people have been asking this for over 20 years now. You hear whispers about, political rivals, insurgent groups, maybe even a shadowy intelligence game being played behind the scenes. But a real, solid answer? Nope, never found. So, to even begin to get a handle on this mystery, we've got to go right back to the beginning, to the crime itself. Let's set the scene. We're in the city of Imphal in Manipur, and this is a place that was already just humming with tension and conflict. So picture this. It's the evening of January 31st, 2001. Major Shaiza is out with some associates at a busy marketplace, the Kwakeithal Bazaar. And then, just out of nowhere, gunfire erupts. Unidentified attackers just open fire. Witnesses said it was shockingly fast and professional. It was over almost before it even started. We're talking a real hit squad-style operation. And the cost? It was absolutely devastating. When the chaos finally died down, 4 people were dead. And among them was the main target, Major Shaiza himself. Now, you have to understand, this wasn't just another casualty in a long-running conflict. This was different. This hit hard and sent these huge shockwaves through the entire community. Okay, so why him? To understand why he was the target, we really have to get to know the man himself. Who exactly was Major Shaiza, and why did his death have all these heavy political and, intelligence undertones? What's so fascinating about Major Shaiza is just how complex he was. On one hand, he's a former Indian Army officer. On the other, he's a highly respected member of the Tangkhul Naga community. Plus, he was active in local politics, had this huge network of contacts that crossed all these different worlds. And because of that unique position, he was on everyone's radar. I mean, everyone, from insurgent groups all the way to government security agencies. He was quite literally a man caught in the middle. And the world he was living in? It was every bit as complicated as he was. If we want to even begin to wrap our heads around the motives for his murder, we have to understand what Manipur was like right at the turn of the century. See, the region wasn't just a conflict zone. It was more like a chessboard, a really turbulent one. You had active insurgencies, aggressive counterinsurgency operations, and this deep, deep culture of secrecy where the lines between who was who were just constantly blurred. And on that chessboard, you had some major players. First, you've got powerful insurgent groups like the NSCN-IM, who were fighting for a Naga homeland. Then you have the PLA and the UNLF, both Métis groups that wanted Manipur to secede from India. And at the exact same time, you've got India's top intelligence agencies, RAW and the IB, deeply embedded, running their own operations. It was a situation where, seriously, everyone was watching everyone else. So, in an environment this tense, who would want a man like Major Shaiza dead? Who had a motive? Well, that question brings us to the 3 main theories that have been floating around for decades.
Okay, let's break them down. Theory number 1, the insurgent hand. Makes sense, right? With so many armed groups around, it's totally plausible one of them saw this former army officer with all these connections as, an informant or just a threat. Theory 2, political rivalry. His influence was growing, and maybe he stepped on the toes of some powerful local players. And then there's theory 3, the intelligence angle. This is the darkest one. But here's the kicker, and this is crucial. Not a single one of these has ever been proven.
So let's dig into that intelligence angle for a second. The idea here is that because of his military background and his deep community ties, he might have become what you'd call a double target. He was basically caught in an invisible war between spy agencies and militant groups. That unique position he was in, it made him a potential asset to some and a huge liability to others. He was useful and dangerous to multiple sides at once. As you'd expect, the case eventually faded from the headlines. But what it left behind, its legacy, is this deep, profound sense of uncertainty. It's a case that really shines a light on the hidden nature of the conflicts that have shaped that region for so long. And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? When you have no answers, no justice, a personal tragedy like this, it turns into something bigger. It becomes a symbol of this huge historical silence. For a lot of people, Major Shaiza wasn't just murdered. He became a casualty of an invisible war. And here's the bottom line. After all the investigations, all the speculation, The killers were never identified. Nobody was ever held responsible. What's more, right after it happened, several of the big insurgent groups actually put out statements officially denying they had anything to do with it, which, of course, only made the whole thing even more mysterious.
So, in the end, the killing of Major Shaiza is so much more than just a cold case. It really forces us to step back and ask a much bigger, much more unsettling question. In the shadows of these kinds of complex, hidden conflicts that are happening all over the world, just how many other truths are buried out there? And will they ever see the light of day?